Illinois' financial problems started long before current Governor Bruce Rauner was sworn into office in 2015, but the circumstances worsened when a temporary income tax rate hike from a previous administration expired, and without it, pension costs and other expenses went underfunded.
We need a booming economy that is pro-growth, pro-business, pro-job creation, or we won't have the resources to solve any of our other problems.
And the Republican governor has stayed true to his convictions, urging the democratically controlled legislature to pass a balanced budget. But he has also demanded reforms, from a minimum 4-year property tax freeze to changes in workers' compensation and more business-friendly labor regulations and liability costs.
And we bring in a guest from the Quad Cities Chamber of Commerce now. Henry Marquardt is the Director of Government Affairs with the Chamber. And let's start with this, talking to some families out there, some people who are moving into the area, maybe getting a job or relocating here back to where family are. They are closely watching what happens in Iowa and Illinois, and many deciding to go with Iowa as a result of the budget crisis. What do you say to them, and what kind of concerns does the Chamber have about that?
Well, we certainly look at both states and our policies, making sure that we can achieve balanced growth in the Quad Cities. We are a bi-state area, but the truth is that you can't succeed in one state without the other state doing well as well. If you're looking at the area in particular, it's important to know that we're getting just as much interest in our economic development on the Illinois side as we are on the Iowa side. Certainly we've got a budget concern to figure out in Illinois, but the truth is that our Illinois communities are doing very well. There's a lot of great places to live, a lot of great places to work.
The governor pushing what he calls pro-business agenda here. What of that are you watching closely? What's of a concern or as a potential positive for us here at home?
Mm-hmm. Certainly there's a number of things that the governor is talking about and proposing that we're very interested in. Workers' compensation is good. The General Assembly did a reform a couple of years ago, and we've seen the medical payouts on that come down, but the rate to business is still higher than it is in Iowa. So we're looking to continue that effort and move that along. We're very excited about that. We're also looking for general reforms to regulation, making them more streamlined, easier to comply with. And then in general, I'd say we're looking really at moving away from local property tax funded governments to much more of an equitable across-the-board state-funded system.
In the final 30 seconds we have, what are you most looking forward to? And give us a positive in all this, hopefully when all is said and done and some deal is reached at some point.
Mm-hmm. I think the positive is to look at the possible outcomes in Illinois. We've had a big obstacle with a couple of years with no budget, but the truth is Illinois has a very big economy, and when we finally do get that budget in place, there's going to be a lot of ability to invest in infrastructure, to invest in education, and workforce, and all the things that are needed to make a vibrant, quality community.
Well said. Thank you very much for sharing your insights with us tonight. Sharon?
All right, let's go back to Springfield now. KWQC's James Stratton is joined by two area lawmakers, State Representative Mike Halpin and State Senator Neil Anderson. James?
State crisis.
Sharon, good evening. As we mentioned throughout this show, less than 36 hours until the end of the budget deadline. As you mentioned, also we have State Representative Mike Halpin as well as Illinois State Senator Neil Anderson, kind enough to join us tonight. I'm going to start with Representative Mike Halpin first. What are your main sticking points as we head into a budget deal?
Well, right now, my main sticking points are just having the governor continue negotiations on the reforms that he's asked for. We've passed several bills on workers' comp, pensions, property tax freeze, and I'm hopeful that he'll come to the table on those. And we've already we've already introduced a spending plan that cuts $2.5 billion responsibly from the state bureaucracy, but fully funds the priorities that we need to make sure we keep moving Illinois forward.
And Senator, you guys are in caucus now. You're kind enough to join us now. What are your sticking points, and what are you hearing as you guys are in caucus?
Yeah, I'd agree with Representative Halpin. I think the biggest thing that we have to focus on when we're talking about the grand scheme of things in the budget as a whole is we have to make sure that it's balanced, number one, and make sure that we have a plan to start paying off the backlog of bills that we have and get these agencies the money that they need.
How do we reach across the aisle? How do you reach across, not necessarily to his aisle, but the Democrat aisle in the Senate?
Yeah, well, I think you're seeing that. I mean, for the first time in a long time, we're seeing all four leaders and the governor engaged in conversation. And from what I've been hearing from both sides of the aisle, in the Senate anyway, is that they're very productive and going very well.
And what have you heard, and how do you reach across the aisle in the House, Representative?
It's a combination. Rank and file talk to each other on both sides. They in turn talk to their leadership and let the leadership know what their requests and demands are, and then the leaders talk to each other. So it's a series of relationships and communication. As long as you keep those lines open, that's where the hope lies.
Okay, gentlemen, thanks for joining us.
Thanks, James.
On KWQC.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Senator. I appreciate it. And we just learned late this afternoon that Speaker Madigan said there will be some sort of House vote on a spending plan tomorrow here at the Capitol building. For now, we're going to send it back to you, Sharon.
All right, James, thank you. Still to come at 6, a look at how the budget crisis has impacted education and local educators' fears for the future. An area superintendent joins us live on set. We'll also check in with our crews live in Springfield once again, coming up.
The major concerns are, of course, educating our children. We need to realize that, without a full education, our children are not going to benefit like the way they should.